It's okay to ride the struggle bus every once in a while, but it is never okay to get all aboard the hot mess express. As professional women, we cannot be a hot mess express. Can we do it?
Hello and welcome to the Influential Women podcast, where we empower, connect, and inspire women who are leading, creating, and redefining what's possible. I'm your host, Jodie O'Brien, and today I am so thrilled to kick off our very first episode with someone who truly embodies courageous leadership, Karli Sherman. Karli is a powerhouse speaker, leadership coach, and MC who helps women and teams communicate with confidence, lead with authenticity, and connect with purpose. She's also an international pageant queen. And if that doesn't say multi-talented, I don't know what does. Karli, welcome.
Hi, I'm super excited to be here. Let's do it.
We're excited to have you. It is such a joy to have you here to launch this journey with me. And so let's start off with your story. I am so curious. How did you first discover your voice as a leader? And what led you to do the work that you do now and helping others step into theirs?
I love my story of evolution. I like to say I'm on plan C or D of my life plan. What I thought I was going to do when I was younger is not what I am doing now. And I love that. I left myself open enough to say yes to some really cool opportunities. So really going back, the first thing I ever wanted to be when I grew up was I wanted to be on Broadway. I wanted to be a musical theater actress. I found theater when I was about 10 years old and it changed my life. And so I went to college. I was a theater major. I was going to be on Broadway and it was going to be fabulous. And then I discovered the reality of living life as a professional actress. And I was like, ooh, I don't know about that. So I decided to go into hospitality instead. Let's do event management because I was super involved in college. And really my involvement in college is the key point of what has led through my entire career, specifically with my sorority. And so I went to hospitality. I worked at Walt Disney World at resorts and figured out I did not want to work in hospitality. Hard no. But from there, I got with one of my sorority sisters and went and worked at a youth leadership conference. Also found out I don't like kids, but I love teaching leadership. So I went and moved to older kids and I worked in higher education and student affairs after I got my master's in higher ed. So I worked on university campuses, producing university traditions and working with student leaders. I absolutely loved that. And after about 10 years of campus life, I decided I wanted to go bigger than just one campus, but I loved the leadership development I got to do. So I left the event management behind, started my own company 5 years ago, Karli Sherman Productions. And now I teach those same leadership lessons I was teaching on campus, but to a much wider audience.
That's amazing. I have a theater kid at home. And so,
yeah,
girl, I feel it.
We're great.
She got her drama from her mama. But man, the energy, Karli, is amazing.
Thanks.
I love it. And it's so great that you have taken that to college campuses.
Yes.
It takes a special person to work with young people. And so I can totally see how you fit in there. That's amazing.
Yeah, I agree. College students are still some of my favorite audience members to work with. I think 'cause they're in school, so they're in learning mode. They're very accepting of new ideas and people coming in and teaching them new things. I love working with nonprofits too. They're great. Community organizations, like I've done work with junior leagues and Rotary clubs. It's the corporate people. Like, y'all are the ones that need the lessons the most, is y'all corporate people. But y'all corporate people are like, I know everything. And I'm like, fight me, bro. Come on. Let's go.
Oh my gosh, you are a ball of fun. No, you're right. You're right. The corporate people need you.
Yeah.
Well, so you've talked about, this is an amazing dichotomy here. You've talked about being on the struggle bus.
Yes.
You've also talked about being a hot mess express. And there are two different scenarios there. I
Yes.
thought they were all the same. Can you explain to me the difference between riding the struggle bus and being a hot mess express?
Yes. So this is a quote that I started saying probably 15 years ago, maybe. So this is the Karli Sherman original quote. And it is, it's okay to ride the struggle bus every once in a while, but it is never okay to get all aboard the hot mess express. And that's because the struggle bus is a temporary situation. The struggle bus rides around town and it makes stops where you get on and you get off. And you can ride the bus for different amounts of time. Maybe you're just having a really rough day. Maybe it's a rough week. Maybe it's a rough month, right? But the struggle bus is temporary. You get on and you get off. The Hot Mess Express, however, that is an express train headed straight for dumpster fire. There is no getting on and off. This is a lifestyle. And that is not okay because as professional women, we cannot be a hot mess express. It's not, and sometimes it's cute to say and it's fun and it's like a tote bag quote and we're like, hot mess, hot. No. So I think it's important to recognize that it is okay to not be okay all the time, but it is not okay to be someone who is unreliable, someone who doesn't have their shit together, someone who is not trustworthy, someone who has low productivity, someone who doesn't do what they say they're going to do. People can't count on you. That's being a hot mess. That's not professional. We can't do that.
It's okay to not always be polished, right?
Yep.
It's okay to have a bad day. It's okay to be imperfect. It's okay to be brave. It's okay to be messy sometimes and human, but we can still be powerful. And I love like what you're saying about that. And so talk to me a little bit about courageous leadership and action, because a lot of us women who find ourselves in that moment, like you're getting out of the SUV at a job and you are a mess. We are leaders. We want to continue to be leaders. But when you talk about this framework for courageous leadership, you really encourage women to lead it from any seat, not just from the top. So what does that look like in practice?
Yeah. I love the courageous leadership model, right? There's 1,000 different leadership models out there. This is one that is applicable to anyone in any field at any point in their career, which I really like. So courageous leadership is nothing to do with title or hierarchy. It's everything to do with using the tools and resources and gifts that you have to contribute to the team, the job, the organization, no matter where you sit on the org chart. So it's speaking up and sharing your ideas. It's asking questions. It could be challenging the process. It could be forming relationships with the people in your team. It could be contributing in whatever way you contribute. Are you really great at keeping notes and keeping records? Awesome. You don't have to be the designated note taker to be really good at taking notes and provide that to your team, right? We're not advocating for exploitative labor here. Okay. But whatever tools and gifts you have, no matter where you're sitting in the org chart, no matter what your level of experience, speaking up and contributing to influence, to help, to move things forward is what courageous leadership is. And that's why it's courageous leadership. It's easy when you have the position of authority and power to speak up, to suggest something, to question something. It's easier. And that's why it takes courage if you're not the one in charge, or courage if you are the one in charge and you feel like you should have all the answers and you should know everything. And you have to be like, actually, I don't know. Let me find out. That is actually one of the best lessons that working at Disney World taught me, was the phrase, I don't know, let me find out. It's pretty powerful. It's one of the best lessons I've ever learned, which as a leader has been incredible. When I felt, especially as a young leader, when I felt like, oh no, they won't respect me if I come in there and I don't have all the answers. Actually, they'll respect you a lot more if you can admit that you don't know something and then you follow it up by finding out.
That's so true.
Yeah.
Like, stop me in my tracks. Truth. So what do you think are those fears that we have as women? The barrier that we face when we're trying to step up and speak and go into that leadership role? And how do you help people walk through those moments?
Yeah. I think one of the biggest issues, I actually talk about this in pageantry a lot. That's a famous pageant question is, what do you think is one of the biggest issues facing women today? I've heard that asked about 100 times in pageants. And my answer is always the same. I think one of the biggest issues American women face is confidence. I think we are raised in a society that likes to talk about it, but doesn't like to do it and doesn't like to see us do it. And confidence is about knowing yourself and believing in yourself and liking yourself and trusting in your abilities. Actually, one of my favorite thought leaders is Adam Grant. He wrote the book Think Again. He has several books, but my favorite one is Think Again. If you're looking for something to add to your reading list, highly suggest. He's a professor and a speaker and does a lot of work with organizational psychology and leadership and management. And he has this idea of, in conjunction with courageous leadership, the idea of confident humility, which is, I know that I don't know everything. I know that I may not have all the answers or have all the tools, but I know myself and I trust myself enough to know that I can learn or I can find the answer. I don't have to have the answer, but I know how to find it. And so, because confidence, we like to pit confidence and humbleness and humility against each other. And I don't think that's anything to do with it. They are not enemies. They can exist together. We can have confident humility. I believe in myself, my abilities, and my ability to find the answer and to learn new things. And especially in pageantry, when I coach women in being more confident, especially in interview, where you really have to toot your own horn. Like, you really do. And they're like, no, I don't want to like sound like I'm bragging. Maybe it's not bragging. It's just facts.
True.
You're just stating a fact. Have you done X, Y, and Z? Then it's just a fact that you did it. Are you good at A, B, and C? That's just a fact. So we're perfectly comfortable saying things like, well, I'm 5'11". Okay, that's just a fact. I'm a really good public speaker. Another fact. Like, why do we feel okay saying things like, I wear a size 11 shoe, but I feel weird about saying, I'm a really good speaker? Why is that weird? Because we're trained that we have to be humble and we have to make ourselves smaller. Don't boast. I don't want get out of here with that. Now, it's just facts. You're just stating facts.
So you're big, obviously, on bold communication choices, which we all love. But could you share what that means? Maybe a tip or an example of how women can speak with clarity and confidence, even when they're nervous or uncertain?
Yes. Okay, I've got two things. One is kind of an everyday life thing, and one is an actual like public speaking thing. Okay, so in everyday life, I think one of the boldest things we can do is to not apologize. Unless you did something wrong. If you messed up or you did something wrong, apologize. Right? We're not going to deflect and we're not going to make excuses. We're going to apologize. I did something wrong. I messed up. I apologize. But otherwise, we don't need to apologize. I'm sorry. Do you just have a second? Can I talk to you for a second? Sorry. Oh, excuse me. Just coming behind you. Sorry. Can you check that email that I sent you? Sorry. I don't. Why are we? Hate it. Hate that. Stop apologizing if you didn't do anything wrong. No, we're not. I'm not sorry that I'm asking you a question. We don't need to apologize for that. My favorite is when someone like points out maybe a typo on a flyer that you made or something. You're like, oh my God, so sorry. I'll fix it right away. No, we're not going to apologize. We're going to say, thank you so much for that catch. I didn't even see it. Yeah. No, I don't like apologizing. I think that's a really bold thing that you can do that helps shift your mindset and shift your language into a more confident way of behaving. Right. And then for public speaking, so that's kind of your everyday life thing. For public speaking, one of the things we shoot our confidence in the foot. Just kill it. Just behead our confidence. There's a couple things we do, but one of them is advertising our insecurities when we public speak. We get it. nervous. You don't like public speak. No one does. Did you know public speaking is the number one phobia in America? It's the number one fear of all Americans. Like, more people are afraid of public speaking than they are of death.
Crazy.
Yes.
I know.
Right? Okay, so I get it. You're insecure. You have some insecurity when you're getting on the microphone. Everybody does, apparently. I don't. But apparently the majority of humans have a severe fear of speaking. You don't have to advertise it, right? So you don't have to let us know that you feel weird. There's a couple ways that sounds. You'll probably hear someone go, oh my gosh, just you'll have to excuse my voice. I had a cold. I had a cold. You'll just I'm a little raspy. Why are you doing that? Why'd you say that? You feel weird.
Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
And you're apologizing for nothing that you did wrong. It's a twofer. Hate it. Like, you are uncomfortable with the way that your voice sounds to you. So you want to make an excuse to make yourself feel better. I don't need to know that in the audience. I don't know what your voice sounds like. Or if I do know you, then I know that your voice is raspy and I know that's not what your voice sounds like. It doesn't matter. Just start talking. You don't have to, we don't have to acknowledge it. My other favorite is when the person who spoke before you did a really good job and the next person goes, oh my gosh, how do I follow that? We know they did a good job. We were in the room too. We know they handled the microphone well or gave a great presentation. We know. We saw it. You don't have to say anything. You don't have to. Instead, what you could do instead is you could turn to the person next to you if you know them and be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I have to go after that. And then you just start talking, right? Or if you don't want to disturb this person, you could like text your mom and be like, oh my gosh, I'm at this meeting and I have to speak after her and she's so good at that. And then you just start speaking. Or you could just say it to yourself in your head and be like, I hate that I have to go after this person. And then you start speaking.
Kill it. Yeah.
But advertising your insecurities into a microphone, like letting everyone know is not, it's not good. It's not going to make you feel better. And it's definitely not going to make the audience feel better about you speaking.
Yeah, that's really well said. And another confidence booster I know for me, which this is so crazy, and it's kind of what we've already talked about. But when I go into a room and I want to project confidence, I become, what's the word? Like more of a servant-minded, not really servant-minded, but here's what I do. I go into a room and I start talking to people and I shake hands and I give hugs and I connect. And I know that you talk about that. You talk about the art of handshakes, hugs, and human connection. I do this. Why do you think those small gestures matter so much in a world that's increasingly digital and distant?
I love a good connection moment. In a professional setting, having a good handshake or an understanding. I teach like the anatomy of handshakes and how to give a good handshake and a professional hug. Especially as a Southerner, we do hug in professional settings. It happens. You need to be prepared for it. You don't have to be a hugger. I just want you to be prepared that it may happen to you. So to have the skills should you need to use it, right? But I think they're a professional standard that we need to be comfortable with and we need to understand. It's the men's have some very weird masculinity stuff tied up in handshakes. Did you know that? When I teach this, I speak mainly to women, but every once in a while I'll have a co-ed group. And the men, I'm like, what are y'all doing with handshakes? y'all wrapped up some weird masculinity stuff into a handshake. I don't know how you did that. I mean, kudos to you for creativity of, I don't know, wild. It's wild. Blessed. Thank goodness the women have not complicated such a simple human interaction. But I do think it's those little connection moments, especially a physical connection, breaks down a barrier. It's one of the reasons when we do team builders and icebreakers, all those silly little games, a lot of them will involve physical touch of some sort. Even think about something like the human knot where you all reach in and you grab each other's arms and you have to untangle yourself. Even we know physical touch breaks down a barrier. And so it moves us more quickly into forming a connection with the other person. And I think it's really cool that our society has a professional standard in handshakes and professional hugs for a physical touch interaction to help immediately break down the distance between us and start to form a connection that can then continue through conversation and interpersonal connection. But I like that it starts with this physical touch, which obviously you can't do in a digital world. It's just not physically possible. So I think it's one of the cool things about in-person moments when you can handshake or hug and immediately move one step closer into connection.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that because, like I said, I feel like that's something I do. I walk into a room, and for me to be comfortable, I want to know everyone in the room and just be like friendly, like break down the barrier immediately and grab a hand. And you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And so
Yeah.
it's interesting that I've never thought of it that way, that that's where my confidence, I get my little confidence in the room. And I love that.
Yeah.
So
Which
let's,
it makes
yeah.
sense that you're to be more comfortable because this goes into nervousness. Kind of the other side of confidence, the other side of the coin is nervousness.
Mhm.
And nervousness is a form of fear. It's low grade fear, right? So and specifically, it's fear of the unknown, which is a core human quality. Humans are afraid of what we don't know and don't understand. That is just a fact of how humans are. And we know that whatever we're nervous about, it's not like mortal danger. We don't go into full fight, flight, freeze mode. It is nervousness is fear of the unknown. I don't know this person. I don't know the questions you're about to ask me. I don't know what I'm going to say on the microphone. I don't, right? That's why you're nervous. You're actually afraid of something that you don't know. So the more you can know, the less afraid of the unknown there will be, therefore the less nervousness there is. So the more people in the room you shake hands with and you can meet, the less nervous you will be because now you know the people. And the other side of nervousness is confidence. The other side of nervousness is confidence.
Yeah. She just did a
Yeah.
cheer. You just did a cheer for us, and I am on board with it. You did great. So, okay. So, just reflecting with me for a moment, what's a recent lesson that taught you something new about leadership?
Hey.
Hmm.
One of the things that I think is incredible for, especially for women leaders, no matter your situation. I'm single and child free, but it really doesn't matter if you're single or not, or partnered or whatever. I think one of the most powerful things we can do is to do stuff alone. I learned how to do that a long time ago, but I forgot about it. I forgot that other people don't do stuff by themselves all the time, especially if you're partnered or have immediate family members like in your household with you. I do everything by myself. I'm child free. I go out to eat by myself and I go to the movies by myself and I travel to other places by myself. I've traveled to other countries by myself. I can do everything by myself and I forget sometimes that not everyone does that or would feel weird. And I cannot suggest it enough. Go do something within your comfort zone to start, whatever it is. Like go out to eat. It's pretty easy, you know. Go and pick your favorite restaurant that you're really familiar with. Don't try a new restaurant, right? Pick something a space that you're familiar with, food that you know you like, but just go by yourself and sit at the bar. That's normally where single people sit. If you're there by yourself, you sit at the bar area and go out to eat by yourself or go to a movie by yourself. It's freeing and it's so empowering and it's so cool. And I love it. And then you can go do more stuff by yourself.
Hmm.
Go do bigger things by yourself. It's one of like my single woman superpowers, you know, that I forget even if you're single, but people will be like, oh well, I don't want to go to brunch by myself. I'll wait till my friends go. Baby, if you want to go to brunch, go. Get yourself a mimosa. I love this for you, queen. Go.
So, why do you think that's important to leadership?
Ooh,
Like, what does
because
that teach us about leadership?
it teaches us to be comfortable with ourselves,
Yeah.
right? And that's the courageous leadership. It's knowing yourself and liking yourself, all parts of yourself, not in spite of your flaws, but including your flaws. And when we know ourselves and we can be with ourselves and sit with ourselves individually alone and go do stuff, there's a confidence that comes with that. And there's a self assurance That, ooh, self-assurance feels good. Tastes good, feels good. I love it. And when, as a leader, if you're leading any organization, company, group, household, to have the comfort within yourself, the self-assurance within yourself. I know myself. I trust myself. I know that I can find out if I don't know the answer. And I'm comfortable to say that. I'm comfortable with myself. Right. I think it's a skill building. It's a muscle that you can build, just like going to the gym and working out. Confidence is a muscle that you can build. It's a skill that you can build. And doing stuff by yourself is a really great way, just like lifting weights builds muscle. Going out and doing stuff by yourself is a great way to build your confidence muscle. And that makes us better when we interact with other people, which is cool. Being alone and being with yourself makes you better at being with other people. Yeah, it does. It does. The more you can know yourself, the better you can be for other people.
It is. It's interesting. It's kind of like if you travel by yourself and you happen to meet someone on an airplane, or you run into someone at a coffee shop and you have a conversation. For me, living as a mama with kiddos, I'm like, oh, I just had a conversation with someone I don't know. I just made a new friend. I made a new friend at the coffee shop a few months ago. And I'm like, I made a friend.
Yeah,
It's not in
I
my
love that.
circle. It did feel great. It did feel great.
Yeah.
And she has a great story, and I love catching up with her online. So it's been fun. Well, I have
And
to
I love,
ask. Yeah, go
well, yeah,
ahead. Go ahead.
I love it when we open ourselves up to having those conversations, which is easier to do when you're alone. It's a
Yeah.
lot easier to approach someone and just have a random conversation when two people are by themselves. But you can truly make a friend that you continue to hang out with and that continues to be part of your life. Or you can just have a really cool one-time interaction. That's beautiful. You can also have like not cool interactions. I have some wild stories of like weird stuff that people have said to me, and that's fun too. But I've also had some of the most beautiful interactions of my life,
Yeah.
from sitting next to someone on a plane or at a restaurant randomly. Especially when I travel to speak, if I like go to a conference somewhere and I just go to a restaurant near the conference hotel, it's just me traveling by myself. So I'll just talk to whoever's around,
Yeah.
hang out at the hotel bar, see who's there, and have some really interesting. There's a lot more good than there is weird. A lot more good than there is weird or uncomfortable. So yeah,
For
it's
sure.
cool.
It builds that confidence muscle for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it takes you out of your comfort zone. All right. So as we look ahead, what is next for you? What's the next big act for Karli?
Oh my gosh. I'm loving that I'm getting to do some more emceeing right now. I love to MC events. I think it is so cool. And people are like, "Oh, obviously, you're a speaker. That would make sense." Very different skill set, actually. Being a
Mhm.
good speaker and presenter is a very different skill set than being an MC. They are they're like cousins, they're related, but they are not the same. And I have gotten to MC a couple events, a couple fundraisers actually, recently, and I got to do my first live auction. That was really fun. And then in 2 weeks, I'll get to MC a national pageant, which I'm on the production team, so I get to help run the rehearsals and then produce a national pageant and crown some national title holders. And I think that's really cool. I love when I get to blend my pageant life and my professional life together like that. It really makes me happy. It's one of the reasons I love doing pageant coaching. I blend my leadership coaching in with the pageant coaching. So it's a lot more developmental than other pageant coaches. I love that. So yeah, that's my like next big project, is helping produce a national level pageant and emceeing.
I love that for you. I
Yeah.
have to ask you, do you feel like people, I know the answer to this, but do you feel like people have underestimated you because you were a pageant girl your whole life?
So n- no, I don't know that and I have people ask me, they're like, "Oh, does that like impact your business that you put your pageant stuff out there all the time?" And I'm like, I don't even understand the question. No, it's helped my business, if anything, for
Yeah.
me. I know there are a lot of women in pageantry who have experienced people trying to bring them down, people judging them for it. I'm grateful. I've just never really experienced that. Or if it did, I don't even remember the conversation where someone said something dumb about it. I believe pageantry is the best form of personal and professional development for women in America. period.
Absolutely.
Like, it's insane the skill building that you can get from pageantry. And so I love it. And most of the time, it just comes from people, their only exposure to pageantry was watching toddlers and tiaras, which is so extreme. That's why they made a TV show out of it. It was so extreme. It's not normal, right? Or watching Miss USA or Miss America on TV
Right.
years ago. They're not even on TV anymore. So they're like live streamed, but it's not
Yeah.
on cable TV anymore. So like people just don't understand what it is, and that's fine. But no, I love it, and I love putting it out there, and I love being a 40-year-old pageant international title holder, you know?
That's
And
right.
I love it. It's fierce. And I meet the coolest women. The absolute coolest women are involved in pageantry. Hands down.
Yeah, that's so true. I have never been a pageant girl, but I have had some great friends who have done very well. And
Yeah.
I've been a judge, and that is a fabulous experience. And so
It is. It is.
kudos to you. And I love that you're still working in that world and bringing all
Yeah.
your leadership advice and training to that world, which, they're already amazing leaders, but
Yes,
girl boss.
they are. Getting to advocacy and platforms are really
Mhm.
big. And it's just so great. And I'm so excited to meet. We have 35 women competing at this pageant in 2 weeks. And like, I'm so excited to meet all of them and hear their stories. And it's just so good. So
I
much
love
sisterhood.
that. Well, awesome. So great. So, one final question for you.
Yeah.
What's a simple action that our listeners can take this week to practice courageous leadership in their own lives?
Ooh, just one thing. Oh my goodness.
Mhm.
How do I pick one? I mean, we already talked about doing something by yourself, right? If you have the time and ability, go out to eat, go to a movie, go to a festival or a event in the park. Go do something by yourself if you can. That's a good one. Another one. Okay, so I have this viral series on TikTok about posing in pictures. I do like tips for posing in pictures from a pageant queen, right? Because that's how I learned how to take pictures and look good in pictures was through pageantry. So I was like, let's share this. And of course, is it my courageous leadership topics? Is it my public speaking topics that go viral on TikTok? No, of course not. Of course not. Of course, it's the silly posing in pictures videos that go viral on TikTok. But people love it. I'll give that. Okay. So here, because pictures of yourself, first of all, that's your first challenge. Take some pictures. Put your phone on portrait mode, flip that camera around, put it on a timer, go outside, get some natural light, pick a bush, a tree, a brick wall, something, prop your phone up, take you some pictures, right? Like first, just take some pictures. And one of my best tips for pictures is to laugh in them.
Mhm.
No matter what pose you like, just move your body around, pick whatever you like. But there's this, they're going to smile and they're going to smile and everything's just a smile. Every once in a while, look away, like look like that way,
Mhm.
like to the corner of your phone, look away and just like, and actually laugh out loud. You're going to feel stupid, but it doesn't matter. No one's watching. No one cares because you're going to get good pictures. So like kind of look up and away and just right. And just have it and have someone like click, 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 click. And you're going to get some really good pictures. You're going to get some weird ones. You're going to be like, and that's
Yes.
fine because that's also hilarious. But you're going to get some good pictures if you laugh or even just like silent laugh or you're like kind of in your head. But you get some really good pictures from laughing and some
Carly,
movement,
literally, like every one of our listeners today is going to be like, can she be my best friend?
Yeah,
They're going to start
I would love that.
stalking you. I'm going to stalk you after
Yes,
this.
perfect.
You
I
just,
would love that.
you are so fun and you are so authentic. And,
Thank you.
it's the person that's deep with inside of us that you bring out, like that fun,
Yes.
amazing Carly inside of us. Your honesty and humor and your wisdom today are exactly what this show is all about. So I'm so glad you're our first guest. For
Me too.
everyone out there listening, you can learn more about Carly's work programs and upcoming events by visiting her website or her socials. If you loved this episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a woman who inspires you. You are going to want to share this episode, right? I
Yes.
mean, We're building a community, of course, for real women and real success stories, Karli being one of them, and we're so glad that you're part of it. Until next time, I'm Jodie O'Brien, and this was Influential Women. Keep showing up, keep growing, and keep leading courageously. Can we do it?